Hey, how's it going, everyone? All right, today is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. And I'm going to get into a photograph of an RD on a 6 train I found circulating around the internet. I think it was actually in one of Scene's books that he had, according to the captions that I was reading when someone sent it to me. I hit a lot of 6 trains, and Scene UA and Duster and them, they're known for hitting the 6s. So a lot of their stuff, especially during the era when he was running around with Zoom, yeah, there's a lot of RDs in the backgrounds of a lot of his photographs probably. But anyway, yeah, this particular time it's outsides. It's a fill-in. I mean, it's real ugly, man. It's not one of my prouder moments. But the reason behind that and the ugly choice of colors is like this. I hit them 6 trains. I used to love ragging the insides of them. And I had a bunch of Hunter Green spray paint, True Blue spray paint, and this rusty prime color that I stole from Lamston's. The green I got from the Winter Garden Theater, where the Cats Broadway play used to be at. Like I've explained in my past podcasts, I'd sneak into that place, steal a bunch of spray paint. Like where they go behind stage, they would have like a whole art studio section back there. This where they paint and props and stuff like that. So I'd get in there late at night and sneak in and steal a bunch of spray paint. Like cases of it. Really, I never had to worry about spray paint at that place. A few times I grabbed weird colors, and this was one of them with a bunch of Hunter Green. It's not that weird of a color, but it's just, you know. Anyway, I had a bunch of Hunter Green. True Blue is a great color, especially for outlines. Hunter Green could be done for that too. If you do a real big blockbuster or something, you outline it with a dark green and some thick 3D and dark green. Yeah, sure, this shit works great. But anyway, I was bringing these colors up to the 6s because I had them laying around. I had no real use for them. And I didn't get any ink. Normally I would get a couple cans of this Marsh ink. It's normally about $7.50 a can. It would be like a quart like this. Filled with a gold label on it, white, and it'd say Marsh. And I didn't get around to that, and I was like, yo, shit, man, let me go up there and grab these cans. I'll go up and hit some 6s. You know, some is better than none. You know, I mean, I had them all smashed. Anyone from New York City knows what I'm talking about. Like, especially towards the end, and like around when that RD I did was, yeah. I was up more than anyone. No one was hitting the insides at all at that point, yeah. Like the last 3 or 4 years, like from 86, 87, 88, 89, yeah, 4 years. Even a little into 85, too. Yeah, I was fucking around. I guess you can honestly say by 85, people have heard of me on the 6s at that point. Yeah, 85, yeah, it was like a dominant thing. Before that point, everything was kind of like just hitting a layup or 2 here and there and shit, you know? But yeah, that's when I really concentrated on shutting shit down and taking over a line, yeah. That was that line. And I had that shit smashed. Like I've explained in my past podcasts, I had every single car. It's a small line. The 6 train's not a big line. Although they will flip them onto the 5s and the 4s and stuff like that. The 6 train, in my estimates, there's about 250 cars on the 6 line. Yeah. I'd say about 250 cars for the 6. That's not that much at all to get when you really think about it. Especially when you go up to like Zeriga, Castle Hill, Pelham Bay, shit like that. You're able to get 60, 70 cars a night, you know. So it's gotten to the point where I'm going through, hitting the insides of these things, and I already got them. So at that point, I would just smash the insides. I'd just go over everything on the fucking things. Arty, you know. The only people I really didn't fuck with was the Dead End kids, because those were my boys. You know, Tony, CR, Bass, Wee. Yeah, I knew them guys. They were cool people, you know. Yeah, they were from Harlem. Dead End kids, DEK. Anyway, I was the only one hitting the 6s at that point. And you had people who were hitting the outsides, like Har, TWB, the Washington boys from Washington Projects, which are also from up in Harlem. You had Hard would catch him too a little bit. Bia 3 is another guy, Bia 3, BIA3. He was getting a lot of, this is the outsides, catching tags on the outsides. Spawn, but Spawn, you know, Spawn GNR, he also wrote Sacer. S-A-C-E-R. Sacer. Yeah, Spawn. And he had a lot of insides with Sacer. S-A-C-E-R. Yeah. He wasn't writing Spawn on the insides, he was writing Sacer. Sacer was Spawn. People might not have known that, but yeah. So Spawn, GNR, Guns and Razors, Greeks and Rastas. Also wrote Sacer. S-A-C-E-R. On the sixes. He had it real good. But yeah, towards the end I had that shit smashed. But anyway, this particular time, now they were locked. When you go to the IRTs and you hit the sixes in the layup, that shit is locked. Every single car, in between cars, every single car is locked. And most of the time, towards the very end, they would have the lights on. So now, this layup is tricky because you're going through them things. The cops, the Pelham Bay Graffiti Squad, they would drive around the neighborhood up on the hill and look down at it. So they don't even have to be in a subway car riding by. You know what I mean? They honestly are in the street in cars looking down the hill like they got a bird's eye view. And like they'll just chill like on a corner and shit and just watch with binoculars and shit. Eventually they'll see you going through in between cars and shit, you know. And every single car door was locked. That shit was burnt. No one was fucking with it. Everyone was scared shit. I was the only human being hitting that line at that point. And every single time you'd get raided. Like up there, every single fucking time. It was crazy, man. That place was no fucking joke. I kind of just like gave up on that shit. Like I had it smashed. I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, let me get back to this one time. So I went up there with my messenger bag. These are big bags bicycle messengers use to deliver mail. That's what I would normally use at that point in my life. Now, I remember I had like maybe 9 or 10 cans of that green, the Hunter green, about 5 or 6 cans of that True Blue, and I had a bunch of that beige shit. A bunch meaning like 7 or 8 cans. So I mean that might not sound like a lot, like oh wow, fuck, like that's not even enough to do a whole car. But it's just the dark colors. I was really gonna do insides. That's a lot of fucking paint. You see, what I was thinking about doing with that paint was writing on the ceilings of the insides. You know, the ceilings, because all the side panels at the point were destroyed already. Like we and Base JR, all them dudes, man, they already had that shit smashed. Mac, Thule, Bio, you know, Tats Crew, smashed. Yeah, I had that shit smashed. Like there was no more room. Like right after they painted them things, like that movie Beat Street, when they, oh, the white one, when they paint all the trains white. Well, I lived through that. Like I remember when the sixes were like old rotten rusted old jammies. You have El Puma tags on them and shit like that. LK, Zephyr, Shaker, Nada, Lace, all ESP, ESA, Hoy, Huntsy, Radar. I could go down the line. Yeah, sixes, and I bet a lot of you guys are like, who the fuck are these people I'm talking about? And you have like Maceo, TCP, yeah, 2 Jam. I could go on and on. Oh, the best, Z-Rock. That motherfucker had the sixes locked, yo. Z-Rock. The letter Z-R-O-C-K. Yeah, that motherfucker. Z/Rock. That dude was up, man. G-Man had a lot of them, too. G-Man PGA. He had a lot. Yeah, and then they painted them all beige on the inside and then white on the outside. Like that movie, Beat Street. Hurrah! King of the beat, you know. I'm only, for some reason, the past couple episodes, I wind up singing on this fucking thing. I don't know, I'm not a singer. It's weird. It comes out, I become like an actor. I become very animated when you turn this little button on with this camera. So, yeah, shit's changing me, man. Yeah, I could have been somebody. Anyway, what the fuck? Yeah, so they painted them things beige on the insides and white on the outside. White. Like white. Like fucking... Not no off-white, eggshell white. I'm talking white. Like fucking white as the fucking driven snow. Whiter than white. Blindingly white. The outsides. So now when I was catching them things on the layup, They didn't want to fuck with the outsides, man, because, you know, it looked like they spent a lot of time fixing them things up and making them all white and beige on the inside. So, yeah, the first people to break that, to crack the egg, or to fuck with them, would be the Dead End Kids. That's Wee Bass, JR, Sweet, my man Sweet, yeah, God rest his soul. Yeah, JR, Tony was out there. He was the, yeah, those are the first dudes that were like, yo, fuck that. They started doing it. Then I jumped in on there, started smashing them a little bit. Then I fell off. Because I only hit like 2-3 sets. So it's not really like nothing crazy at that point. That's like 20, 30 cars. But still at 250, once that shit breaks up, that's not too bad. So, alright, Nada ESP, not a TFO, but Nada ESP's already disappeared at this point. I remember I went up with Sash, Gary Sash, and Lace, and we were hitting them, and that was early on. Tats Crew was already smashing them at that point, like Bio, Mac, Thule, Brim, all those guys were smashing it too. Then them guys started fading a little bit, and then I started kicking it up a notch after Lace fucked his leg up. And yeah, like, I've known Gary. A lot of you guys are like, oh, you this and that, Gary Sash. But I mean, I don't know how you guys didn't know I didn't know the guy. He wrote 357, like he wrote Sash 357. I've known Gary Sash probably since I was like 9, 10 years old. Man. Yeah, Gary Pinedo. He was more my brother's friend than mine. I've done a lot of graffiti with him, don't get me wrong, but there's a few things we didn't see eye to eye on. And, you know, yeah, I mean, he passed away, God rest his soul and stuff, but I think he kind of blames me for, like, bringing a lot of violence and uproar to the graffiti business. Like, before I came along, it was all sweet and friendly, and then I came up in the picture, and the shit was like, kill him! Blah, blah, blah! You know? So, yeah, he wanted to just, like, vibe and shit. And I don't know, I ain't like that, man. I can't do that shit. You know, I don't know, like, in New York City and stuff, and the way it is, it was weird. Like, I felt, not like he was being heard, but, like, yeah, like, jokes and shit, you know, and it was kind of not cool, man. Like, I ain't submissive to shit like that, you know. I guess what it is he's not from the street, and, like, certain things were going over his head. You know what I mean? And I was like, nah, fuck that shit. What's you bugging? You know what I mean? Like, he would let things slide. He wasn't aggressive, I guess is the proper term. And hey, like I said, I've known Gary Sash, Gary Pinedo. I know his brother. Yeah, I remember he used to have his big Doberman pincher and shit. Yeah, I've known Gary a long fucking time. And he hung out with my brother more so than he hung out with me. He used to be my brother's weightlifting partner for a while out there in Mid-City Gym downtown. Off of Broadway, there, like 49th Street, 48th Street. Yeah. And he hung out with him a lot. When my brother used to work on the Deuce on 42nd Street, yeah, that's when he was hanging out with Gary a lot. Gary Sash, he wrote with a lot of different people, man. A lot of people. Gary Sash, well, remember Pate, P-A-T-E, Pate, Des, D-E-S, and Sash, S-A-S-H. A lot of fucking insides, man. A lot of insides. I met a lot of interesting people through him. A lot of people, like, wrote with him, man. He was out there. He hung out with a lot of people. I don't know. I think that was kind of like the difference. You know, I'm like, fuck everyone, man. Let's do us. You know what I mean? Like, I was more destructive, and he wasn't from the street. That's the bottom line. He was a street kid, but he wasn't out there like that. And you know, I think he was coming off as too humble. You know, and nah, yeah, that ain't me, man. Hell no. Shit. So yeah, I think, yeah, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, to each their own opinion. You know, you got Gandhi out there, right? And then you got Patton, General Patton, and shit like that. You got General Custer, right? And you got fucking Cardinal Connor, so, or Gandhi. You know, you got different ends of the spectrum, right? So yeah, he was like vibing, like chill, and I was like, set it off. Yeah, different. That would be it. That'd be the best way to put it. He was more wanting to skate by and just be in it. Me, I wanted to take it over. That's the difference right there. He just enjoyed being involved in the graffiti community. Me, I wanted to take that shit, rip it apart, and put it in my back pocket and keep it for myself. Yeah, big difference. And I think that we clashed a lot, so we really didn't hang out like that. But we did a lot of graffiti together. Like, I'd bump into him in the street, like I explained in my past podcast. He hasn't wrote graffiti for years. It was like 85, I think, is the last year he actually wrote graffiti, like 85, 86-ish. Yeah, around the late 85. And he stopped. And he, like I said, he used to work out with my brother. And he started working out and getting into the gym and doing bodybuilding, and actually started winning contests as a bodybuilder. He was hanging out with this guy, Mark 156. Yeah, and they were like going around and doing bodybuilding and stuff. And I mean, you can ask Bind. He'd probably know more about it than me. But yeah, I wasn't sociable with him like that. It was always just graffiti. Like, I never actually hung out with him and shot the breeze, or, you know, went to see movies and stuff like that. Yeah, he was more my brother's friend. I did go to junior high school with him. I was in Wagner PS 167. Yeah, he was in school with me. He wasn't in my class, but he went to school with me. I've known him since I was a child. Sharp went to Wagner. Delta 2 went to Wagner. Roz, Cool Cat Roz from Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, White Boy Rob. He went to Wagner. Bass, different bass. A lot of people say this threat. All these people. A lot of them are IRT writers. But yeah, a lot of people. Hoy, Huntsy, which was ESA. Yeah, so many dudes, man. Pugsley. Anyone remember Wagner days, man? Pugsley, motherfucking Pugsley. Yeah, dude, he was cool, man. Yeah, a lot. And Bubbles. Who remembers Bubbles? That's taking it back, man. Yeah, that's early 80s, early, maybe late 70s, 80s, yeah. But anyway, yeah, let me get back to the shit with the Sixers. So yeah, I knew Gary very well. It was, sad to hear that he passed away, and all. My brother was sad about that and everything. God rest his soul. Gary was a good dude, man. He was a good dude. Like I said, he wasn't out there doing that shit. Like, he ain't never fucked no one over or did no real dirty shit to nobody or nothing. He ain't have no enemies or nothing. He walked this earth good, man. He did. He wrote graffiti, he shoplifted a little bit. But other than that, man, Gary was a good dude, man. Real good dude, man. Yeah, Gary Pinedo, rest in peace, Yeah. Alright, so the Sixers. I would hit the insides of these things. And like I said, this is when they're already mashed up. The outsides of BIA3, HAR, Freeze, shit, who else? This guy Tez3, Tez3, Kraft, 3C, 3CEE. A lot of this shit's probably Greek to you guys if you ain't. Like, the Sixers was separate from, like, all the IRTs, like, you could have people that were on the Sixers and be famous for hitting the Sixers that didn't even fuck with other lines, and no one else really ever heard of them, That's what's weird, but the Sixers was like that line, because it went from Brooklyn Bridge, like, not in Brooklyn, a few people that aren't from the 5 boroughs or the USA, it went to, like, the very, very bottom of Manhattan Island, all the way up to the east side of the Bronx, to, like, Pelham Bay. It didn't go into Brooklyn. Like, some lines, like, I don't know what would be considered the longest. 5 was a long fucking line. 3? Yeah, but the 3 stops right on 140-something Street. I don't know, but you got some lines that go all the way out through Brooklyn, like 2, I believe the 2 to 5, from Brooklyn all the way through Manhattan, all the way up the Bronx, all the way up almost to fucking Westchester, man. For real, now that's a long fucking line. That's got a lot of trains, a lot of cars on it. But anyway, we're talking about the Sixers. Yeah, there was people out there. Most dudes from, like, East Harlem would hit the Sixers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes from East Harlem. And also, like, the East Bronx, like Cypress, 134th, St. Mary's Park area, up around there. Coates, TDS, BO, BEO. Yeah, Coates, Anthony, Green Irish. Yeah. Yeah, that dude used to tear them shits up, man. He used to catch them with a fat cat. Coase, C-O-S-E. Coase and B-O, B-E-O. TDS, yeah. Them boys at PGA also. They were down with G-Man, PGA, I believe. I remember they used to push PGA too. Yeah, they used to tear them Sixers up too, man. Fat caps. Yeah, they would have like these bubble caps, like something you'd take off a small tester's, kind of flat black. Yeah, they were smashing them shits. Coast, yeah, he's a good writer, man. Coast, TDS, man. I see him out there. He on Instagram and shit. Yeah, Anthony, good dude, man. Yeah. He's from up around there, like 3rd Ave, 134th, Cypress, around there. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they painted these things beige, and then lace and nada, yeah. Nada got some of them, but Nada Scott, like not a TFO, but Nada ESP, ESA, my area. Used to hang out like over there with the Budweiser boys and them. His name was Scott, blonde haired dude. Yeah. Yeah. And he faded out. And then me and Andrew Lace started really killing him. And Tat's crew, they weren't really hitting the insides no more. They kind of moved on to doing pieces with T-Kid. They started doing a lot of pieces, yeah, with T-Kid. They were doing a lot of pieces. Mike Mack and them, yeah, Bio. And I just smashed the insides. I had them from that point until they cleaned them all up. Anyway, once again, getting back to the reason I did these ugly bubble letters. And I'm about to show you the picture. So, on these 6 trains, after they painted them beige, and they got dogged. They were beige on the inside, white on the outside. And people wrote a bunch of tags all over the fucking things. So, now you couldn't do hollow, just do an outline on it. Although Scene was doing OD and PJ and them, they caught them. The UA boys, like Scene and PJ, actually that's exactly what it was. OD and PJ, they were catching them, but I think they were catching them in the yard. I don't think they're going to go walking up to them fucking things when they white, like that in the layup. Because like I said, these cops, they circle around the neighborhood. They'll see the trains are all white, and what, 10 minutes later, they're going to ride by and see half of them are fucking, like, got, like, outlines on them. You know, you get smashed, man. You're going to get rocked, man. They're going to raid your ass. So I believe PJ and Scene hit it shit in the yard. And they had a lot of, they just ran by with just, like, a dark color, like, dark black, blue, shit like that, and just did the outsides, just the quick outlines, didn't even fill them in. I guess they were testing the water to see how long that shit would last. But anyway, yeah, so I remember that. Then after that, it's like a bunch of other people wrote on them. And then Scene came back at them again, and he started smashing them with silver and black with this dude Zoom, Z-O-O-M. Zoom, rest in peace. Zoom passed away. Yeah. So he started doing those on the outside. Scene Zoom, S-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-N, Scene Zoom, you know, Scene Zoom, Zoom, Scenes, boom, boom, boom. Smashed them, had them all smashed. Once again, I don't think they did them in them layups either. I believe they did that shit in the yard too. I could put some pictures of it. Well, actually, the picture I'm talking about was a picture of a Scene Zoom. And there was an RD there. But I remember my RD was there before. I believe my RD was there before the Scene in the Zoom. Because on a different photograph, you can see they actually went over some of my writing. Then there's another photograph where Scene actually photoshopped out. It was like rd357, Outlaws, I wrote. And you could see he faded it out on the door part, just to get rid of the graffiti around his door, you know. I mean, yeah, so he bucked my shit out, just for his photographic purposes. But the real photos are out there lingering around too. But yeah, I could put them on. I would have to look for it, and I'm just sitting here in front of it. But I'll put the ones on where you can see clearly that the door is clean and the RD's after it, and then I could show you other ones too. But yeah, that was just to do tags on the outside. So Scene and Zoom set it off with the fill-ins and the outsides. PJ too, he caught a lot, but PJ had a lot of the 5s also at that point, like the 2s and the 5s and shit. So once again, getting back to it. So I went up to the 6s under the impression I had a bunch of spray paint. I was going to write on the ceilings, you know, when people go and they sit down like this, in the ceilings, like around the fans and shit like that. That's a great fucking spot, man. It normally outlasts all the other spots too. But it's hard for someone to reach up there and actually buff the fucking thing. And it's kind of a flat. But although I'm using spray paint, the ink is good on the ceiling. But the ink drips on your face and it kind of fucks you up because you'd have to do something about that, because otherwise you're walking around with ink all over your face. The cops will see that shit when you're trying to go home, you know. Anyway, yeah, so spray paint on the ceilings was what I was planning on doing. The only problem is I forgot my little fucking sardine key. You see, back in the 80s, 70s, shit, probably up since the 50s, you would get a can of tuna, or, well, not tuna, but a can of sardines. It would come with a little metal key with a hole in it. Now, you would take the top of the can of sardines and you would loop a little piece of metal through it and just turn it and turn it and turn it and turn it and turn it, and that's how your can of sardines would open up, and then you could eat your sardines. Sardines are a fish. They come in a can like this. So I would take that sardine key and I would just take it like that, just a little bit on the key. And for the sixes, it's just a straight line with a thing. I'd go in and go, easy, go, like that, down and off to the side, down and up. Where the hell is it? Right here. You go down and that way, down and that way. I could do it on the first try, like almost as easy as having a key. I've had keys several times. I've had the whole set of keys for everything in the MTA, and even the padlocks, the master locks, all that shit, the lion head keys. Yeah, the master lion head key with a lion head on it, open every master lock. In the whole MTA system. I had it all. But anyway, this particular time I was fucked. I didn't have my little sardine key on me. Went all the way up to the Bronx to hit the insides with all these cans of spray paint. I couldn't get inside. Like I said, every single 6 train was fucking locked. And they had the lights on. So, yo, I'll tell you, these outsides are white, white, white. Like I said, the whitest of white. And the lights are on inside the train. And these cops like to ride around the hill up top. So I hated doing outsides, man. I fucking hated doing fill-ins, man. Like I've explained, man, I'd get rained almost every single fucking time, just going through real quiet, just by myself. And I'll tell you, I'm like an expert at this shit, man. Like, I've honestly moved in silence. I'm like a fucking ninja when I'm up there and say, I'm like, oh, fuck, man, how the fuck did they see me this time? I swear, I'm like a little snake or like a little eel or something up there, man. I move undetected. I don't leave nothing, man. I don't rip down no posters. I don't do no dick shit or nothing. I even still, I started thinking it was just like a scheduled time when they would just go by and blow the horn and watch everyone run out of the place or something like that. But there was no one going up there. I was the only human being going there. And it just seemed like they always, you know, like seriously, out of 10 times, like 7 times they knew, like they were fucking with me. Yeah, and I wouldn't go down to the token booth or anything like that. I would get right off that train, and as that train's leaving, I'd jog along the side and get down into that train where they're parked. And yeah, that's exactly how I did it every single fucking time. There's no way anyone can see me. Of course, I'd look at the back conductor's booth, make sure no one's looking out the fucking window. I'd go 3, 4 in the fucking morning, boom, they'd still know, man. Anyway, I got all this fucking spray paint with brown and greens and blues. So I said, fuck, man, I ain't got no keys to go on the inside. So I was thinking, yo, I could go in between cars, each car, reach out over the side of it and catch an RD up high above all the people's tags that they did on the outside of these white trains. But then I'm like, oh, that's like a lot of fucking noise and a lot of fucking hopping, and like, they got like these fucking cars that are circling around, and like, this place is burnt. I'm like, fuck, man, yeah, I don't do shit, man. You know, I was like, oh, damn, man, I don't want to go home, man. And then I said, fuck it. I just started doing fill-ins with the paint. And I got like, oh, seriously? I walked, I got like maybe 6 sets. Yeah, I could fill in on each car, 6 sets. But they were big fill-ins. They were bigger than your average Joe, man. Yeah, these weren't no little small shits, man. These fill-ins, they were bigger than Scene and Zoom's fill-ins. I mean, Scene did top to bottom fill-ins in there, but so did Lace. You know, Lace did whole cars right there. Lace, I've been with him, man. I've actually, fucking brought a garbage can. Sat on a fucking garbage can, did a whole car. Fucking Lace. Yeah, Lace 357, man. Crazy motherfucker, man. Yeah. That's a true story. He really did that. When I get him on here one day, we're going to do that. I'm going to talk to him about that shit. To the whole car, right there in the station. Not in the station, but in between stations. Yeah. Crazy shit. But anyway, yeah, so I went up there, hit about 5, 6 sets. Maybe 4 sets, I guess would be safe to say. Yeah, but anyway, I hit 1 on each car. Maybe 40 cars, 4 sets. Yeah, let's call it 40. I don't remember the exact number. I know it wasn't the whole strip. It wasn't 60. It wasn't 60. It was like 40 of them. Probably not even 40, maybe 30. But them fucking things broke up, and they got on, every time a 6 train pulled in, there'd be at least one of them fucking ugly, disastrous fucking RDs pulling on. Every set, at least one of them fucking, and it was disgusting, man. They were like, like I said, I filled them in with brown and outlined the fucking thing with green. And then, later on, I'm like, I could have just really mosquito bit the fuck, like, did what everyone else did, because everyone else's shit's normally in black. Like, if I was smart, I just would have caught tags with green and just killed the whole layup on the outside. But it's scary on the outside. I did not like fucking around the outsides, man. It's like, that shit is white. Even if it's got a bunch of tags on it, it's still white. And the fucking lights are on the insides, and it's all hills around you, man. It's like a graveyard, like everything's low level, There's no huge buildings and shit. Nah, man, that shit's, everything's like little private houses and little one-story, like, strip malls and shit. And the graveyard fucking takes up half the fucking run there, too. You got like a school or something, like school grounds and shit. Yeah, it's all flat terrain, man. Like the cops could see you from far away, a couple of blocks up on the hill. They could see you, and especially if the train is bright fucking white, the lights are on in the cars of the subways, and you got the street lights blaring at you. Like, man, fuck that. But I did it. I inched along. It took a little longer than I thought, but I got rid of all the fucking paint, and I went home, and I thought I did good until I saw them fucking things. I was like, oh, God, it's just a disgust. But, yeah, that's the story behind that particular photo. Yeah. I think it's a scene zoom. There's actually a FO on one of the, which is form QV. The Chinese dude, Tommy, from out in the story. That was my boy, man. I tore up a lot of shit with him, man. I hit a lot of layups with him. I did a lot of graffiti with him. He did them FOs, and that was weird because he was a letterline dude, He was from like the double R's and like Historia and stuff like that. And yeah. He was hitting, he wasn't into hitting numbers. Like, he hit the A's, I remember. We would go to Grant a few times. Yeah, he hit a lot of weird lines, but never the numbers. I brought him up to the 6s. He started killing them shits up there. Yeah, he started doing little FO fillings on the outsides and stuff, yeah. FO stood for form. And he also wrote Kaser on the insides. Kaser. K-A-S-E-R. Kaser. Yeah. A bunch of them dudes. Kaser. Yeah, I can't remember. There was a few other guys that chilled with him a lot. Well, of course, like PK, Jaff, and all them, but, yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Zor? No, Zor was Nash's boy. Z-O-R, that was Roach. Roaches, TFV, and Zor, Z-O-R, and Nash, BBK, right? Yeah, BBK, yeah. Got a bunch of them, yeah, like Merc and EK, Rank. They were doing it. Yeah, but that's letter lines. That's like Astoria stuff. That's got nothing to do with the 6s. But yeah, the 6s were interesting. That was some weird shit, man. I used to love that line because that was my stop. That was my line, I'd take that line and I'd go uptown and get marijuana and shit, go to school, whatever, back in the days. So that's why I like to have that line smashed, And I had that shit pretty good. I had it, like, insides, I was up the most on the insides for like 3 or 4 years on that shit. Lace and Nada had it before me. And Lace, of course, was my bombing partner originally. He went up there with me, but he tore out the ligaments in his kneecap. He got in a bike accident with this dude, Sniffles, Paul. They crashed into each other, and he fucked his leg up, and he couldn't go for a while. He had to wear like a leg brace and get surgery and shit. Yeah, Lace Andrew. So that's when I had a green light, man. I was like, set it off. Fuck yeah, let's shut this shit down.
Yeah, that's what I did, man. I shut that shit down, man. Fuck that, yeah. I'll tell you, but like that's kind of like what I mean by with Sash. It's like by the time Lace's leg got better, we were at war with the whole fucking city. Like, yeah, his leg was fucked up for a couple of months. Lace, Lace 357, Andrew, yeah, LACE. He was the 357 Prez, like I was explaining before down in Tishman and shit. So, everything was all smooth and easy, Gary, Sash, me, him, Kaya, yeah. A bunch of people were writing 357. There was never no drama, no beef or nothing, But once Andrew's leg got fucked up and Gary Sash, he kind of fell out the picture. Like 1985, he kind of quit rowing. Quite right. I mean, he got once or twice here and there. Like I said, I did that whole car. He did The Pain Don't Go Away. Says Gary Sash, RD, The Pain Don't Go Away. Yeah, well, he did that like towards the end, like maybe 87, 88, something like that. Yeah, he just came out, like I bumped into him. Hey, what's up, man? He was talking about all this paint if I want it. Something like that. I'm like, nah, man, come on, man. Why don't you just do something, man? Let's go do this. He said, all right. So we went down there and we did that. But yeah, it was actually, I believe, it was asking if I was interested in the paint. I was like, well, why don't you just do something, man? Yeah, I think that's how it went. Something down those avenues. But anyway, yeah, we went down there and we did that. I was like 80-something. Yeah. I was going with that. But yeah, I've known him a while. Did a lot of graffiti with him. You know what's interesting? I was talking about PTSD before. Just yesterday. Like, you guys asked me how I changed my life around, and I keep saying I really just kind of ran out of schemes and I got old. Like, the schemes that I would pull off, they don't exist anymore. They're no longer. It's like the tuna fish can, like they're antiquated, they're outdated. Like I was just saying about the sardine can with the key in it. It's like, yeah, it's not happening no more. So anyway, there's another interesting thing I was thinking about. It's with the PTSD. You see, like I had this situation down here. I was walking on First Avenue, and there was this thing with some presidential thing or your political party. And they were Democrat, I believe. And they said, oh, you represent a Democrat, this, that. And they're like sticking a clipboard in my face about me being some kind of Democrat or something like that. Now, I had 2 bags of fucking groceries, man. Like, with those big bags, you have your recyclable bags, and like these things are extra, extra huge. Like, I had like 3 things of juice in there, like 1 gallon of fucking like almond milk, and like all types of steak and shit like that. I had a bunch of fucking food. And I sticking the thing in my fucking face, So I looked at him, I'm like, I laughed. I said, oh, it's like, you're a Democrat here, if you want to sign for this, that. And I'm like, please, don't insult me. I am not a Democrat. And I kept walking, and all of a sudden, they were like kind of confrontive and shit, like this, that. And there was one girl, she was kind of cute. Maybe that's what drew me in a little bit. And maybe I was rude, don't insult me, Democrat. No, I want to just Democrat. Please, don't insult me. And I kept walking. Also, this chick, she was kind of hot. She had big tits and shit, nice thin waist and shit. She said, hey, what are you, a Trump supporter? All of a sudden, like, there's all these people around. But, like her, I liked, even though she's accusing me of being a Trump supporter. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a fucking Democrat. We'll get into that. But anyway, she's accusing me of being some kind of Trump supporter. So I'm like looking at her like, how you doing? Thinking somehow we could possibly go out on a date or something. That's going through my head, And all of a sudden these 3 other guys come up to me, this, that, blah, blah. And that's when the PTSD kicked in. It's like you feel it. It's like a nerve. It's like, I don't know how to, it's almost like when you take your first drag off a cigarette and you get like that euphoria. That's how it is. It's like a warmth that comes over you. And then it's like you just get super alert. It's like you're like in the zone. Like everything is like you're there. Like there ain't nothing gonna move over here or over here without you being on it. It's the weirdest shit. And that's when you either run away or you fight. Like fight or flight. And it was like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's weird. So what I realized is, of course I said, come on, I make joke, and I walked away. But, yeah, that hopped up. And I think the best thing I could tell you guys is if you suffer from that shit, man, the best thing, the key is to keeping that shit in control. Because that's the shit that won't make you wind up in jail or something, man. For real. Yeah, I believe that's like what goes on out there. When people, well, I don't know, when they're hitting people in the head with hammers, they have to physically take a hammer out in the street with them. Like, it's not like they have a hammer hanging off the side of their thing, like everyone's a construction worker all of a sudden. So those people, I believe, are on a whole different level of mental illness, because I believe they're actually leaving their apartment with a hammer and setting out to bash someone in the fucking head with a hammer. So that's a different story. I'm just walking down the fucking street, and all of a sudden I'm asked if I'm a Democrat, then I'm accused of being a Republican, and then there's like a girl with big tits, and then I got some frightening fellas coming up to me trying to show off to this girl with the big tits. And it's like, you know, it's like you really do, like your hands go up, like you pop up, you like get informed, man, like you tighten up your abs and shit, like it's weird. And it's just, yo, like I said, I honestly believe you control that shit becomes like a superpower. Yeah, if you could keep that shit in and think before you act, that's the key. You can have that PTSD shit. Believe me, I've suffered from that shit since I was like 14, 15 years old. The minute they stuck my ass in Spofford, man, that shit fucked my whole head up, man. Yeah, little kid, yeah, fucked me up. They got that shit written down, sociopath, I'm this, I'm that. But I think that's the shit. I'm not a sociopath. Obviously, I feel very bad about what's going on with my brother. I still have not heard nothing about him. If I was a sociopath, I wouldn't be able to have remorseful feelings or feelings of empathy at all. So with that, but with that PTSD shit, yeah, that's something. So if you could get that shit key, like recognize it and breathe before you react, that's kind of what I do. Like when I see this shit, cause I actually just learned that shit just from watching the Hulk and shit, like and reading comic books. But yeah, I'm dead serious. When you see that shit, and when you're feeling it, like you're getting warm and confused. But that's what it is. It's like a warmth, like almost like all of a sudden you got a fever. And it's like you get confused, but then once that confusion goes away, everything makes perfect sense. Attack or run. Like, yo, I'm dead serious. Like, if you could somehow, once you feel that warmth, just be like, ah, shit. And just count in your head, or do something in your head. Picture fucking a beautiful woman or something. And then, or laugh at the situation, or try, and you'll be good, man. But yeah, that's kind of what happened with that. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna drop this, cause yo, that shit ain't nothing to be ashamed of, man. Yo, it's hard out there, man. People go through some shit, man. Believe me, man. You know, life ain't easy, man. Like yo, you see all types of shit. Look at that thing with 9/11, with 4,000 something people dead. You still got people dying from that shit. They're inhaling all that stuff in their lungs and shit. You got shit in Ukraine. I mean, even just this whole pandemic. Yeah, it's like that sometimes. But you know what I was thinking about too? Also on the Sixers, MJ and Charles, but not Baby Zone Charles from the Bronx and the dude that did the babies. Not that Charles, a different Charles. They wrote Charles and MJ, the letter M and the letter J. They were from TFA, yeah, and Tank also TFA. Yeah. I actually bumped, I knew those guys pretty good. But yeah, TFA, they were hitting it too. MD, the medicine doctors, the mad dogs, they had it too. In between, that's right when I started kicking it up. They were on it hard, yeah. And yeah, I wanted to say that. But yeah, keep your eyes open. You'll see some of these pictures. I got a picture of a scene top to bottom, and you'll see how he used Photoshop to get rid of the graffiti on the door that you can see behind it. Also the big ugly villains I was talking about, the pictures of. But the Sixers, man, they were kind of my heart. I like them things, you know. It was like a way of showing off without having style. Yeah, you hit them things. People know, yo, that dude, he's up there like that, man. Like if you hit the Sixers, people knew, you know, you were a risky cat, man. You out there taking chances and shit. You know, I like that kind of reputation. Man. So I enjoyed the Sixers a lot, man. Those were fun, man. Yeah, I was going there for a couple of years straight, man. Shit. Yeah, even after I had them all, I was going. Yeah. All right, people, yo, take care of yourselves, man. Keep your eye out for the pictures, man.